Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast.
Hi.
I'm Kelee.
And I'm Callie.
We have a new face here.
A new face, but not a new name.
Yes, we've talked about you, I feel like, many times.
I do feel like I've been mentioned.
Yes. Callie is Jimmy's roommate, who he's talked about before, and another friend of the show.
Wow, I feel so official.
I know.
Friend of the show.
I've been asking or talking to you about coming on the show. The show. It's so funny calling it a show. It's like, is it a show?
It is a show.
I guess.
It's official. It's the podcast.
Yeah. Since September.
Oh my gosh.
I've been
for a long
asking
time.
you. Well, not asking you. She's been denying me. No, I've just been talking about it and wanting you to come on. But
Well, I'm
it's
ready.
finally here.
I'm ready.
I feel like, Callie, you're like one of my celebrity crushes. I really feel
Literally?
that way. I feel like
Please
when I
don't
see
say
you, I'm
that.
like, oh my God.
Don't say
there
that about
she
me.
is.
I am not a celebrity.
I feel like
I'm
you are, though.
in no way a celebrity.
Do you want to give everyone a few facts about you? I feel like your job is
Okay.
interesting. Like, that sways your opinions.
Okay. So I'm a middle school teacher, which is super fun, but also lots of stories from that. I live in Philly and I teach in Philly too. So Philly public schools, yay. If any of my kids are listening to this, please don't turn it off. And I was single for like almost my whole life. And then very recently, I guess a year ago, I started dating my boyfriend now, Steve. Shout out.
Shout out.
We love Steve.
Love him.
So this is going to be a great episode for the people who love to date.
We're talking about cringy dating stories. So Callie went to college with Erin, my sister. So I've known you for a long time, but I didn't get to know you well until like the past year.
Yeah.
And Callie, you told the funniest dating story. Last year, I remember we were at an outside bar in Philly and everyone there was like 10 of us. Everyone
Absolutely.
was dying laughing at this story. So I was like, cringy dating stories, we have to do it.
Listen, it is one of my tell-all stories. I will tell everyone. And it's like a little bit of a word to the wise, a little bit of warning about
true.
going on dating apps. But I don't know if we'll save it to the end.
I feel like we should start with it.
Oh, start
Yeah.
with it. Okay.
I feel like I was thinking we start with yours and then I have a funny story and then Rebecca has a few write-ins and then we can get into everyone else's.
Okay. We're okay. All right. I guess we'll start. So.
Okay. Let's do it.
So I was not a serial dater, and then I moved to Philly about 6 years ago, and I went right onto like Hinge, and it was like from the get-go a difficult start because it's just like you never know who to trust.
Yeah.
So I went on a date with this guy, and we like walked around Chinatown, and we made this whole plan. Like it was supposed to rain. He was like, "If it rains, do you want to come back to my house for a movie?" And I was like, sure. It was literally my first ever Hinge date.
How
like,
old were you?
Oh my gosh. I think it was like 23, maybe.
Okay.
22, 23. Like,
Young.
And I just like I don't know. I was so naive of like, oh, going back to someone's house and everyone's like, yeah, he wants to like have sex. And I was just like, I didn't even think about it. I was like, he wants to watch a movie. Like, how fun. So we walked around and we get to his house and he's like, hey, I'm really particular about like people taking their shoes off. Like, I need you to take your shoes off. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I'm a shoes off household.
Yeah.
Are you a shoes off household?
I feel like we're not, like, I do take my shoes off, but
Yeah.
it's not like a rule.
Oh, my parents are very like shoes off at the door.
Really?
Yeah. So I like didn't think
That's
too
how it
much
should
of
be.
it. That's my thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
cleanliness.
Yeah.
But anyways, so we sit down. I'm on one end of the couch. He's on the other end of the couch. The date went really well. We had a lot of things in common. And he's like, hey, pick a movie. So I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I don't really want to like kiss this guy. Like, I don't want to make like a romantic movie. So I'm sitting there and I'm scrolling and I'm like, the perfect movie is Shrek. Like, I haven't seen it in a while. It's a fairy tale. And people are always like, Kelly, that is romantic. Like, it's a romantic story.
Yeah.
But I don't think it is. Like, it's about an ogre.
I mean, I wouldn't call it romantic. It's definitely a comedy and it's animated.
Thank you.
It's about an ogre.
Literally. We're sitting on the couch and he's like, hey, do you like want me to give you a foot massage? And we had been walking around for a few hours. So I was like, absolutely, go ahead, give me a foot massage. So he's like giving me a foot massage and I'm super into Shrek watching it. And all of a sudden I kind of like realized that he took my socks off. And I was like, okay, whatever. Like, he's just trying to get like deep tissue. I don't know, shiatsu, like up in my feet massage. And so again, like, I am not paying attention to the foot massage. I'm a queen. I deserve a foot massage, obviously.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden I'm like, this does not feel like a foot massage anymore. And I look down and we are sitting the way me and Kelee are sitting, like far away from one another. And I look down and he literally has my front two toes in his mouth, sucking on my toes.
Bad.
On the date, and I literally kicked him away with my other foot and was like, get off of me right now, I need to go. Hustled to put my socks back on since they had been taken off.
Wait, what did he
and literally
say?
Ran out.
Like, when you like ripped your foot away and kicked him, what was his reaction?
He like literally did not think that anything was wrong.
What?
Like, he looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, he did not ask for consent.
No.
He asked for nothing.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. Then the next day he texted me and he was like, hey, I had such a great time. After I literally ran out of his home.
Yeah, how far away did he live from you? Like, did you have to go outside and then
I had
call
to go
an Uber,
outside and call an Uber in the rain.
Oh my gosh.
It was raining. That's why we had gone to his apartment in the first
Did
place.
you put your shoes and socks back on before going outside?
Yes,
or were they
absolutely.
like in your hand?
No,
Okay.
I put my socks on, hustled.
Did he say anything? Or was he just staring at you in silence?
He was kind of staring at me in silence. I was like, I just really have to go, and like left. And he texted me the next day and was like,
Did
hey,
he
I had
stand
such
up
a great
off the
time.
couch?
I don't even like when
Or
I
you
tell
weren't
you it was
looking
a
at him?
blur.
Yeah.
It was a blur because also I would look at him and imagine my toes in his mouth.
Okay.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
So then almost a year later to the day, he texted me.
Wait, sorry. He texted you the next day. I think I cut
He
you
texted
off.
me the next day and he said, hey, I had such a great time. Hope to see you again. And I
Okay.
never answered.
Okay.
I deleted his contact info, whatever. A year later to the day, almost, he texted me and he was like, hey, I was thinking about you the other day. Like, hope everything's going well, whatever. I think it was like around the holidays. So he like had something about that. And I didn't know who it was at first. And then I kind of like put two and two together and realized who
Yeah.
it was. And I was like, that's just so bizarre. Like, who does that?
That is weird that he texted you.
So weird. The next day, after he sent me that initial text a year later, he sends me, hey, I actually have some information for you. I started a new business and it's for people who want to sell feet pics.
I forgot about this part.
And he goes, I thought of you.
No!
The way I scrumped, I screamed, and I scrumped. I could not believe it. And then underneath, okay, so he sends me this and Jimmy, I'm living with Jimmy at the time, and he's like, you have to text back. Like, you have to just like see what he has to say. And this was before COVID. I should have jumped at the opportunity, y'all. Like, I'm
Honestly,
upset about it.
true.
I'm a little upset about
You
it,
probably
but
could
whatever.
still find his number.
So then Jimmy was like, ask him what the deets are. So I ask him and I'm like, hey, like, so like, what are the opportunities that you're talking about? And he literally texted me back with like an entire business plan and different options that I could sign up under.
That's amazing.
So it was like big feet girls. And then it literally had like 3 girls' names listed next to it. Then it had like Southern Comfort Feet. It was like all of these like categories of like women and their feet and like this whole thing.
Okay, I'm not even gonna hate on the business plan.
No.
That's amazing. It's feeling like he was going on dates to find potential clients, or not clients, but like people to work on his site.
I mean, because he literally, so like in the text, he's like, I just decided to change avenues. So like, I think maybe he was reaching out to like all of the girls that he had potentially done this with and seen their feet.
That's
like,
insane.
This is my first ever Hinge date. Like,
it's so fucking funny. It's like so weird too, because like inherently sucking on toes, you know, like it's not my thing, but it's somebody's thing, and that's fine. The fact that he didn't ask you nor prepare you or like say anything leading up to it other than, can I give you a massage? And it's like, oh, is that what you think a massage is?
The audacity. Like, I still to this day, like, cannot believe that.
No, that's insane. That is so funny. And then the fact that he he's trying to sell you on his site. So once he sent the
Listen, he really
proposal,
did it.
did you answer?
I don't remember. I think I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm like not interested, but good luck.
That's
like,
a good response.
at the time.
Yeah.
And I think during COVID, everyone was like, you should have jumped at it. You should have jumped
Yeah.
at it. Which I was like, true. I could be making, that could be my second biz.
True. If you have his number, pass it along.
Oh my-
I'm gonna see what's up.
Listen, this is his like shout out. Go find him.
That is so funny. Okay, you had another story too.
I did have another one. This other one definitely. So this was. Do you have one? Do you have any dating stories?
I have not really. I want you to tell this one first, and then I'll tell my weird story.
Okay. So this one. So this was like peak COVID. I had been going out on, I guess, some dates at that point. So, like, I wasn't, I think, nervous. But this was, like, right after I had come home from being at my parents' house for, like, a month. And I was like, I have to get out of the house. Like, I just have to get out. And I think all of us had, like, all of my roommates had decided, like, it's fine. We're all just going to go out on dates. Like, we need to get out of the house. So there was this guy, I think we were texting for maybe 12 hours. And he was like, do you want to go out? And I was like, sure. So we planned a date that I had really wanted to go on. Okay. This was a date that I had been brainstorming, thinking about for so long, which is, and I think it's a great idea. Tell me if you think if I'm wrong. It was a cheesesteak date where you go to a bunch of the places in Philly that are famous for their cheesesteaks and you try them and then you rate them.
Oh, that's a great idea.
A great idea, right?
I'm vegetarian, so I wouldn't do the cheesesteak one, but I do that with other things, I feel like.
Yeah.
I did that with a guy once, kind of not in Philly, but with shamrock shakes.
Oh.
Like we went to multiple places and got the shamrock shake from McDonald's.
Okay.
They had one at Arby's. They had like an Andy's shake somewhere. I
Cute.
forgot. We got a few. And then I took like 2 sips of it and I'm like, oh, I'm going to throw up. Could not finish.
You're like not a fan.
But I love that idea. That's so fun.
Thank you. So I had been super excited about this idea for a long time and this guy was down to clown. So we went and we tried a bunch of different places. I think I paid for like most places, which should have also been like, we borrowed he was like, I'm borrowing my dad's car. Like from the first 15 minutes of this date, I was like, this is not going past.
But I don't know, like date. In a city, like does he live in Center City?
It wasn't even that. It was that like, it was the first 15 minutes of like, he just wasn't like he didn't seem like he was very stable.
Okay.
There was like, and not stable in terms of like mentally not stable. I mean stable as in like he didn't have like a proper job in terms of like what he was doing at the time. He like had his mind was going a bunch of different places. It was a lot of different like entrepreneurial things. Like I'm gonna start this up, but it didn't. It seemed like a lot of ideas.
Everything except the feet pic site.
Exactly. I love an entrepreneur. Apparently. So we went out and we did this and it was great. We went around to all the cheesesteak places and then we went and we sat behind the art museum. We were like sitting, looking around Boathouse Row, whatever.
This is my literal favorite story.
And so we're sitting there and like the conversation is kind of going. We're hanging out and he like leans in for a kiss and like we just like do a little peck and then we come apart from it and he just literally goes like this boop boop on my boobs and, and I said, please take me home. I would like to leave.
He literally just put each hand, if you're audio only,
boop, boop.
Each hand, palm up, on Callie's boobs,
just
and went boop boop and touched both of them.
Just a little underhand.
One in a row.
And I said, please take me home. Thank you so
That
much.
is so insane.
Like, again, no warning, no consent, just a bizarre interaction.
In what world is that, like, okay? And I remember when you first told us at the table when we were with everyone, I'm like, okay, I could see it, and I feel like other people agreed with this. I could see it if it was, like, your boyfriend.
Yes.
And it was, like, something
absolutely.
funny where you're like, oh, that was, like, a stupid joke.
Yes.
With a stranger?
A literal stranger.
That's so fucking bizarre.
Yes.
Boop, boop. Guys.
It was... like after both of those interactions, I like put it into a group chat with my friends, and then I also had a bunch of friends who like I worked with over the summers, and they had known about the first story. So I literally recorded a voice audio, and I was like, "You're never gonna believe what happened," and everyone was like, "You have the worst luck."
Yeah.
The worst luck.
Yeah.
But
that's Amazing.
Makes for a great story. Both of the guys were honestly so nice. That was a part of it. They were like beyond what had happened. They were very nice, easy to talk to people. So like, I hope that they did not do that to other women. Silly things. If you can take it as a joke, take it as a joke.
That's like one of those things where if they texted you the next day and they were like, hey, would you want a second date or whatever? And you said no. And if they asked why, would you tell them the reason?
Oh my gosh.
Because I feel like you could and you should.
I know at that time in my life, I don't know if I would have had like the confidence to do it. Like, I think that I would have kind of been like, like, no, it just like, you're just not my guy. Like, you're just like not really my type. Now at this point in my life, I think I definitely would. Yeah. I think now I would have been like, that just like is not something that you do to someone that you just meet. Right. Like, it's just not.
Without any warning. Especially.
Yes. Especially, I think I would have like ripped the fuck guy a new one at this point.
Oh, the thing is, I'd be scared of people in person, but then also if you were with them for like hours and you were getting to know them and you knew that they weren't gonna kill you, I don't know, but I guess do you ever really know that someone's gonna kill you?
I realized how like unsafe I was when I first started dating in the city. Like going back to people's houses that I did not know. Like,
it's so scary.
And you just don't even think about it.
I know.
And like, I'm glad that my experiences have never been like scary or violent or like things that I can now laugh about did not like impact my relationships with others. Right. But like, I realized how unsafe I was.
I know it is. I know. I was reading some of the stories that I'm gonna read later, but so many people were like, I was with a guy and he picked me up. I'm like, so you gave him your address and then you got in a car with him and then you let him control you, or not control you, but like control your life, like you're in a car, which that's so scary.
On that last date when we were sitting behind the art museum, Jimmy had my location and he knew I was out on a date, and we get crazy about like find my friends when people are out on dates. I'm always like, I need to know, I want to know where people are going because like it freaks me out. So he was tracking me and it looked like I was in the Schuylkill River. And he was like, I thought you had been like thrown in the Schuylkill River.
Oh my God.
He was like, we were sitting there. They were texting me in like our group chat and they were like, are you okay? And I'm horrible with my phone. So like.
That's so scary.
It was not.
It's funny now looking back on it.
Looking back, it was all okay.
I have two stories from Rebecca that I feel like this is a good transition actually.
Okay.
So one of them, she was on a date with a guy recently and she said he was nice, like they vibed, and then at the end of the date, I think they got drinks and he was like, oh, I can drive you home. And she was like, no, thank you. Like, I'll just call an Uber. And they're outside on the street. And he's like, no, just let me drive you. And she's like, no, I'm really going to get an Uber. And he's like, but I have a Tesla. And she was like, okay, like I'm not, it's fine. Like I'm going to call an Uber. And she said he got so mad and just like stormed off and didn't say bye to her and was so mad that she didn't get in a car with him. And I was like, my brain goes to like, I think he was gonna hurt you or something, or like he wanted to know where you lived to like drop you off, or I don't know. But then I said that story to my guy friend and he was like, I feel like it also could have been pride. Like he wanted to like prove something to her. And he's like, oh, I have a Tesla. And she's like, I don't care what kind of car you have. I'm not going to get in a car with you.
Yeah, especially Rebecca, absolute queen.
Yeah. And then for him to literally be like, well, fine. And then storm off and not say bye to her. And then she called her friend on the way home and she was like, oh, let me see a picture of him. So she goes to his Hinge profile to screenshot. It's already gone. He already unmatched her in like that
level of
minutes.
Petty is absolutely unmatched.
Crazy.
And ego. That's just such an ego thing.
I know. I mean, I hope it's an ego thing and it's not like he actually had other intentions, but so scary. So scary. Okay, and then she's crazy. She's been having bad luck too, but
I love that she's going out.
Yes, true.
Makes me happy.
Another guy, it was so funny hearing her tell this story. This one's just absurd. So she meets up with this guy who's a chef and they're getting drinks. And this was actually actually like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Very, very recent. I almost wish she was here to tell it, but she told me I could tell it. So they go get drinks, and then it went well. And they were like, oh, we're both kind of hungry. Let's just go get dinner as well. And the guy's like, oh, let's go to like this restaurant. My friend's a chef there, and he can hook us up. And it's like a very expensive, fancy restaurant that is not, you know, typical first date. But anyway, she's like, okay, let's do it. And he's like, oh, can you get the Uber?
Okay.
She said she thought it was weird, but she's like, oh, I figured he's going to pay for dinner, so I'll get the Uber.
That was when I said okay. I was like, wait a second. Okay.
And I feel like that's fair too.
That is
like
fair.
To split like a few things, whatever. Yeah. So then she said he did pay for drinks though. But then they go to this restaurant, and the chef, who's his friend, is just like bringing them like plate after plate, like so much food. And then they got the bill, and he asked her to split it. And it was literally like $200. Yeah. And she was like, I guess. And so they split it. And then they boxed up all the leftovers, and he took them all home. And he didn't ask her if she wanted any. He just like took the whole bag and then got in the Uber and went home. And so
Sir,
did she.
in this economy,
And then-
you're going to take home all the leftovers.
I know. And then I think he texted her and was like, oh, that was so fun. But she said that he was one of those guys that did not ask a question about her, but she could tell you his life story, like loves talking about himself, just like ego thing. Took her to this fancy restaurant, like, oh, I can hook us up. My friend works there. And then asks her to split the bill. And I'm not trying to say that I assume that a guy's going to pay. No. But if you pick a restaurant,
that's always
it's a fancy restaurant that costs a lot of money, I think you should pay for it. Because I wouldn't ask a guy to go to a dinner the first time I met him to a meal that's going to cost $200 if I didn't expect to pay for it.
Yeah. My rule of thumb was always, and is still, like, if you invite a person on a date, you pay for it.
Yeah.
So, like, if you invite to the restaurant, you pay for it. Unless you've already said in advance, we're going to split it.
Totally. And then she said that, she's like, I kind of want to, like, say something and, like, tell him why, but I don't know how to say it. And I was like, if he asks you, you could say, hey, I had fun, but to be completely honest, I was a little caught off guard when you asked me to split the check, because if I knew that we were going to split it, I probably would have suggested somewhere more casual.
Yeah.
And I feel like, though, he still wouldn't have understood. Like, I feel like he still would have spun it on her because he seemed to have a big ego from the way that she was describing him. But then she was going to Italy for a wedding a few days later. And right before she went to Italy, he texted her and was like, have a good trip. I've been thinking about you, like, blah, blah, blah. And she texts back and goes, how are the leftovers, LOL. But it gets worse because he thought she was being serious. Like, he thought she was being dead serious. And I think he answered the question, like, they were good.
Just like rubbing salt in the wound, sir.
So bad. That's so bad. Don't ever split the bill, but then just take
all the food.
Like, be like the littlest bit considerate, especially if you splitting the check is fine. It's fine.
You know what I just realized? Rebecca does not have a microwave. How's she going to heat up those leftovers?
No, the thing is, she hates leftovers. She wouldn't want them anyway.
But
it's the principle.
It's the principle
she
of
paid
the thing.
For it. She paid for half the bag that he was taking home.
That is true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I agree though.
When I see her next, I need to ask her.
Just how the leftovers were.
I absolutely need to ask her how the leftovers were. Yeah, I think I would have said something. Especially if you know, now I'm like, say something because you're never going to see them again.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
You're not.
Yeah. And I'm like, if he asks why, like, he should know why. Like, he should not be trying to flex and be like, oh, let's go to this place. No. And then ask her to get the Uber. It's like, oh, you're such a baller, but you're going to ask the girl that you're with.
And like, if your friend's going to hook you up, like, there should be a significant discount. If you're going to be like, my friend's going to hook us up.
I think he did probably give them some stuff for free, but then it was just such an expensive place that it was still that much money.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'd be so fucking mad. But, like, what can you say at that point? Like, if you're sitting there at the table.
If you're in the middle of it, like.
Yeah, and they're like, can we split the bill? What are you going to say? No. Like, you have to pay for the bill.
I have heard of people just cutting and running. I don't think I could ever.
I think I would do that if I was at a restaurant or something and the guy was, like, eating and drinking a ton. And I don't know. If they said split the bill, I might do one of those things where you, like, go to the bathroom and I just, like, hand the waiter $50 for mine and then be like, this is for my half. I don't know what he's doing. And like, goodbye.
I'm going.
Yeah.
I have to go.
Yeah. I don't know. I am so scared of dating. Like, a dating app is like my worst nightmare. I just hear so many horror stories and I'm like, how do you trust people? Like, how do you know that this person's not crazy?
Yeah.
Or even just like a nice person. Like you just hear so many stories, but I think I only hear the bad ones.
Yeah.
But, like you met Steve on Hinge.
I did.
So many people meet on dating apps.
I know.
It's like the new, I feel like most people now meet on dating apps.
It's so hard to meet in person unless you're so willing to like put yourself out there. I think that like we have a good friend who like she will put herself out there all the time, and I like love that about her. It's something that I like, that
Wait,
confidence.
Can you say who it is?
Yeah, our other roommate Jen.
Oh, okay.
She like really puts herself out there,
does.
and it's something that like I think is so admirable and like such a cool thing about her, because I am not someone who I think can just like go up to people and like start talking to random people, or like even accept drinks. Like I don't even like to like accept drinks from people when I'm out. I'm like, I'm so focused on the people that I'm out with that I like don't even think about it.
I definitely love talking to people, but you're right, Jen can just talk to anyone.
She's amazing.
For like hours.
Literally hours.
Yeah.
She can find out someone's whole life story in like T-1 hour.
That's
like
so
she's
funny.
in.
I don't have any cringy dating stories because I don't really date that much.
We're getting you out there.
Yeah. But I did have a story that involved a guy that I thought was funny, and I was like, okay, I've been wanting to tell this story, but it's so random, but I just thought of it and remembered it recently. I was like, oh, that's a good story to tell on the podcast. Okay. So this was a few years ago. I was down the shore and went out with my friend that I was living with that summer and just a bunch of friends. And at the end of the night, when the bar closed, it's a shore town, so half people lived like around the block, and then some people were like getting Ubers or whatever. I was sober, so I was going to drive home, my friend and I. And so I just remember this like it was yesterday because I was like the only sober person there. So anyway, everyone's like walking to this one person's house up the street. I didn't know them, so I'm like, my friend's going in. She works with the guy. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to go. I'm just going to like wait for you. I'm going to like walk to the car, whatever. This guy who was like a friend of a friend who I met a couple times was talking to me. And so I was kind of hanging out with him like while I was waiting for my friend who was like doing whatever with everyone else. We're sitting on the curb. I don't even know where my friend is at this point. I think they're like inside of this house. And me and this guy are sitting on the curb and just talking. Like he's just a really weird person, but in a good way.
Yes.
Like weird sense of humor, but he's funny.
Love it.
And we see this couple who's like trashed walking up the street. And at one part of the block, there wasn't houses. It was just like bushes.
Yeah.
And they're fighting. And then he pushed the girl. And she like fell into the bush. And we're like, because we were kind of like, we were talking like, haha. And then we like saw them fighting. We kind of like both went silent and we were like looking at them.
Yeah.
And then he pushed the girl. And we were like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
And the guy like stood up and like goes over to him. And he's like, are you good, man? Like, what's going on? And the guy's like, I'm fine, like, blah, blah, blah. Helps the girl out. And then the guy is like screaming at the guy that like I want to like give them names. I'll call the guy that I was with Paul. So Paul is talking to this drunk guy, and the drunk guy, the boyfriend, is like, she did like blah, blah, blah. I was like screaming. And then Paul goes, hey. And then he's just like yelling back at him. And then he goes, do you want to make out with me? And the guy's like,
confused.
What?
Confuse everyone.
The boyfriend literally goes, what? And Paul goes, do you want to make out with me? And he's like, no. And Paul goes, then shut the fuck up. The guy literally didn't say anything. He's just like, what?
You have to confuse people. The only way.
And then the girl, I kind of forget
how was
what
the
happened.
girlfriend? Was she okay
she was just,
after
like, standing
going in a
there.
bush?
Yeah, she was just like standing there at this point. And I think that a car pulled up and like I think the girl got in it because I know one of them got in it, but I don't remember which one left first.
Separation.
I think it was the girl though. And then I think the guy was just like wandering around. I'm pretty sure. It was so long ago that like the end of the story is like foggy to me.
Of course.
But I was like, what a weird fucking thing to say. What a weird ass thing to say. He just is like confronting someone who just was committing an assault against a woman.
Absolutely.
And was like, do you want to make out with me? Then shut the fuck up. I was like,
but also a great de-escalation technique.
Kinda.
I love it. Confuse them, make them question themselves for a hot second.
It was so funny.
And then maybe they'll calm down and get away.
I did start laughing after that. I was like, it's not funny. The situation's not funny. But
situation
that was
scary.
funny. Yeah.
But
and then everyone that my
got
friend was
figured
with
out.
came out of this house. They were all like, oh, drunk. And we're like, you guys will never guess what just happened.
you'll never believe what we just experienced.
Yeah, it was so funny. So yeah, I don't have any cringy dating stories. I guess I was going to say sadly, but that's not really sad.
That's not sad.
Other than the fact that it shows that I probably just don't go on dates.
Honestly,
okay.
a big part of my personality became my cringy dating stories for a hot second there. So I'm so glad that I get to share that part of my personality on the internet.
Maybe I'll just start going on dates just for the content and
That
just
is-
starting to hope that they're bad.
It really did become like a part of that where I was like, I'm just going to do it for the stories.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Yeah. It just is so much effort. I'm like,
It is.
So like get ready.
But you also don't have to.
That's
you also
true.
don't have to put in, like, we
That is
think that you
true.
have to go out and, like, I think some men put in a lot of effort into, like, whatever their fashion is,
Yeah.
whatever. But, like, how long, I always tell my boyfriend now, I'm like, you take 10 minutes to get ready before we go anywhere. I have to think about 3 days in advance. Am I going to shower?
Yeah.
When am I going to shower? It's a hair wash day.
Exactly.
So now I have to wash my hair. I need to straighten it. I need to
Exactly.
do X, Y, and Z. Prep.
Yeah.
Life takes
I know.
hours upon hours.
I know. I think about that too. And then like I never want to tell people where I live. So I'm like, I'm
That's
not
so
going to
fair.
suggest somewhere that's close to my house to meet a freaking stranger.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to first of all lie about where I live if I do meet someone.
First off, I'm going to lie to the man that I would like to date. If anything, I'm a liar first.
True. I'm giving out all my tactics right now.
Listen,
I'm like,
we have to be
nothing-
defensive.
Nothing I say is true, and he will never know that. Yeah, I guess that's a weird thing because then it's like, when would I start to tell them the truth? Like, well, surprise, I don't live here. I just suggested this neighborhood so that you wouldn't suspect a thing.
Listen, I'm diverting your attention. Just like that man did.
True.
In that fight.
So true.
Divert the attention.
Okay, I have lots of cringy dating stories
Okay,
from
I'm
other
ready.
people. Do we jump right in?
Let's jump right in.
Okay.
Okay, wait. Remind me what the gavel is for.
Oh, so we use the gavel a lot when we're debating Am I the Asshole? Because we'll be like, asshole, it's decided. But
The noise.
if we want to use it for anything, we can.
Okay.
If you're feeling it.
If I'm
feel free
feeling
to
a
grab
bang
it.
of the gavel, I
Yeah.
will bang the gavel.
Exactly.
I'm ready.
This story reminded me of you. First date, walking around the Philadelphia Museum of Art at night. Date, female, stops, pulls down pants, and proceeds to urinate in the middle of a public park path, all while maintaining eye contact and continuing to engage in a conversation with me. I felt bad for the joggers running in the direction we came from. What would you do? What would you do? If I was on a first date and a man pulled down his pants in front of me and started peeing, I would be shocked.
I think that my immediate first thought when you said like she continued to make eye contact and continued the conversation, first thought is power move. Continue to make eye contact. She does not give one fuck.
That's
She
true.
doesn't. It is absolutely hard. Like she should not have done that.
No.
What I don't know. I run. I would have run.
I would have literally been like, are you okay? Like, is this like an emergency?
I would have screamed.
I would have scrumped.
I would have scrumped.
I
don't
okay.
know.
I'm
Literally,
speechless.
I know.
Speechless.
Because I think about how often I'm around the art museum.
Yeah.
And I literally think about watching this scenario. That's terrifying.
It's concerning if they were drunk. I still think it's weird and it's wrong. But if I was drunk with a guy and he just started peeing, I'd be like, dude, what the fuck? But like not as weird because people do weird shit when they're drunk. If they're just like dead sober and she's like, oh yeah, like blah blah blah, getting naked. First of all, why would
middle
you
of a
want
park
to take
path?
off your clothes in public to pee? Like just so bizarre and with no warning. Like she wasn't like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I just really have to pee. Like she just thought this was okay. Weird.
I'm scared. Like I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm going through all of my emotions right now. What?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have left. I would have called someone. I would have had to go. I don't know. Wow. A doozy for the first one.
I know.
That's a doozy. Okay, give me another one.
This one is kind of long. The black bean soup incident. I went to a small engineering college and there were only like 9 girls in my program, one of which was very hot and very cool. I was neither, but can be funny, and I use that to my advantage. Over the course of 6 months, I slowly woo her to the point where I am fairly confident she will say yes upon asking her out. A few more weeks go by, and I finally ask her out, and she accepts. I am completely smitten with this girl. I pick her up at her sorority house, which is an awkward deal if you have never done it before, because a dozen girls answer the door to check you out. I take her to the best restaurant I can find, and so far, everything is going great. I order a bowl of the soup of the day and an entree. She orders something inconsequential to the story. As you can guess, the soup du jour was a black bean soup. The waiter is much more attractive than me, in his late 20s, who is obviously scoping my date and subtly flirting with her, so my machismo is activated. So much so that when the waiter suggests I order the cup of soup versus the bowl, as their bowls are very large, I take it as a shot across the bow of my fragile masculinity and insist that I can handle the bowl.
Of course.
The bowl's delivered, and it's more of a Taurin. You easily could have fed a family of 4 with the leftovers, but now my dumbass has to not only finish it, but to do so acting like it's normal to eat a gallon of soup as I made a big deal of it. I eat the soup, and I am already Thanksgiving stuffed when they bring out my entree, which I obviously have to eat as well, or admit to the handsome waiter and my date that I'm an idiot with such a fragile ego that I can't take an obvious suggestion. Despite my obvious physical discomfort, my date cannot seem to tell that I am so uncomfortable that I may explode from either end at any instant. Furthermore, as I get up to use the bathroom, my date asks if we can stop by her sorority house on the way to our movie so that she can pick up a sweater for the cold theater. Despite the obvious, I say no problem, and we get up to leave. As I am walking to the car, I get what feels like a knife to my belt line, followed by a gurgling noise as 8 pounds of shit are transferred from my intestines to my colon. I'm still not worried, though, as we drive to her place, as it's like 5 minutes to the theater. We get to her sorority house, and she asks if I need to come inside for anything. I would like to think she wanted to fool around, but I think she has now picked up on my situation, probably from my profuse sweating and silence.
Oh.
No, I'm fine. And as she heads inside to get her coat, I do God knows what else, because she's in there for what feels like an hour. Then another sharp pain, another gurgle. I now have sweat literally through my clothes as I realize I have to shit, and I have to shit now. I get up and run to the front door, which isn't helping my situation any, as I desperately scramble to fling open the front door to the sorority house. Locked, of course. It's too late. I ran around the side of the house, drop trout, and proceed to shit my brains out, pressing my back hard against the side of the building in an attempt to keep from contaminating myself. I was not successful. Though I immediately felt physically better as I put myself back together, I realized in sheer terror that both of my shoes and lower parts of my pants have been splattered.
Oh.
I start putting together a plan of action, run to the car, run home, explain later, when as I am heading to my car, I spot my date, sitting patiently in the passenger seat. Somehow on the spot, I come up with what I thought at the time was a brilliant excuse that I also have to stop by my house to change, as I stepped in dog shit while relieving myself on the side of their sorority house. She spared me from having to explain why I could not wait to use the bathroom at the theater. I assume she was distracted by the horrible odor in the car, but more likely she knows the truth. Whatever the case, the angel did not make me elaborate on anything, and we had a great time the rest of the evening. We continued dating for 6 months or so, and now we're Facebook friends.
Okay. First of all, kudos to him for his
know.
storytelling ability.
Yes.
I was transported to the Mexican restaurant. Transported. Okay, my immediately thought with the sorority house was like, I thought about Legally Blonde.
Yes.
When they like answer the door and
Yes,
everyone's
I was
getting ready.
picturing that too.
But that is horrible.
Bad.
That is something that I feel like on dates you really do have to think about. What are you eating?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I would never order soup. The slurping.
Okay, like I said, I really don't go on dates that much, but I love soup. But yeah, why would he? I feel like it was his own fault, but he admitted that.
Yes.
When he couldn't just be like, yeah, I'll eat the smaller thing. Like, just a word to the wise, if there's any guys, or a word from the wise, I don't know. Any guys
you are
listening?
wise. You can be the wise. We're from Kelee the Wise.
I would never take note of how much a guy ate or didn't eat.
No.
And it would never impress me either way.
No.
So that's not, we don't need to use that to impress
No.
people.
No. What would you do if, okay, you were on a date with someone and you had a waitress who was flirting with the guy that you were on the date with?
Okay.
What would you do?
Is it a first date?
Sure. This was a first date and it was
True,
happening.
True.
Or he felt it was happening.
I don't think I would say anything. I think I would let it happen at first, and then as soon as she walked away, every time, like, I would be on the guy's team.
Okay.
I would be like, oh my God. Or I'd be like, okay.
You would play it cool.
Like, I'd kind of like hype him up a little bit because the guy can't control, or the person that you're with, they can't control what the waiter's saying.
That's true.
If they were giving it back, I'd be like,
story.
I think I would handle it differently, but I feel like I would try to keep it lighthearted at first and be like, oh, a little friendly, I see, or like something like that. Or be like, oh, I guess if I liked the guy, I would say something witty, like, oh, I guess there's two of us that have a crush on you, or like something like that.
Ooh, that's a good response.
No, I just thought of that. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I would definitely make a joke of it, but if he was like giving it back to her, I think I just wouldn't say anything unless it was like so blatantly rude to me.
100%.
And I would just really keep mental note and be like, that's fucking weird. Because if I was on a date with a guy and a male waiter was flirting with me, I would immediately turn to the guy and be like, that was a little weird. Or like, did you get that too? Or like, what the hell was that?
And be like, I'm not interested in whatever this person is like giving me.
Yeah. I would definitely make a joke of it, and like, because I just feel like if you can make a joke of something or let the other person know that you're thinking of it in a lighthearted way, that's just gonna make everything the least amount of awkward.
Yeah, trying to make the other person comfortable on a date is so big because everyone's nervous.
This is so funny. I was saying this to a guy that I was talking to or like kind of dating recently, but his stomach made like the most gross sound. And I literally was like, oh my God. And you know how sometimes when you're with someone and your stomach makes a sound, you like sometimes don't even know if it was you or them.
No. Yeah.
I was like, was that me? Because I knew it wasn't like anything embarrassing. Like, it was just like a stomach sound. Like you cannot control it and you can't even feel it sometimes. Yeah. And he was like, no, I think that was me. And I was like, oh my God, thank God. And I kind of like said something that could have come off as rude, but I didn't mean it as rude. But I was like, I would be so embarrassed. I was like, if that sound came out of me and you heard it, I would be so embarrassed. But I was like, but since it's you, like, I find absolutely nothing weird about this. And like, I will never think about it again.
No.
And then I was like, wait, that was kind of rude. I just said that because I was like, I would never live it down if I did that. But since it was you, like, there's absolutely nothing weird about it. But I actually meant that. And I was like, no, actually, if someone else had a bodily function going on that they couldn't control, and it wasn't just like they were gross. Like, if they had bad hygiene, that's not what I mean. But like, if someone got sick,
it's something and they had you can't control.
Yeah, I would never think anything weird about it.
Yeah,
but if it happened to me, like, I would never sleep again.
No. I feel like the earlier you can bring bodily functions into play, the easier your life is. The less,
that's so true.
I'm like lactose intolerant. My stomach is no bueno for anything with cheese. But guess what my favorite food is? Cheese.
Yeah.
So I'm always just like, I have stomach issues. And everyone's going to have to deal with the consequences of my choices / help me make better choices because I will always choose cheese over
I feel like saying that though, it's like you're so confident. You're like, this is just what's happening.
Yes.
And like, queen.
When I heard black bean soup on that, I was like, it has to be something with farts.
I know.
Something. I love that they dated though.
I know.
I wonder if he told her what had happened.
I seriously think if I was on a date with a guy and that happened to him, and if I liked the guy as a person, I actually would think nothing of that. And I would never, I might tell like my closest girlfriend, but I would not tell like guy friends. Like I wouldn't tell anyone. I really don't even think that's weird.
Or
it's
let
just,
them
like,
tell the story when they become comfortable with your friends.
Yeah, exactly. I would never bring it up again unless they were like over it. I just don't think I would think that's weird at all. Like you really can't control things like that that happen to you.
No. That's like the story of the girl. Did you like ever hear this story? It was like an internet story that a lot of people heard about.
Oh no.
Where she was at a guy's house on a date and she pooped in the toilet and then she like had to like put it outside or something.
Yeah.
And then like the police came
or
something happened
this.
or like she put it on the roof. I don't know. It was like a crazy internet story where this girl was like, I pooped and then like I didn't know what to do. It smelled. Like I didn't know how to like get out of the house. So I like left through the window of the bathroom.
Wait, why couldn't she flush the toilet? It was broken?
I think she like didn't want there to be like any evidence of like what had happened.
Okay.
Or she like broke the toilet. I don't know.
Okay.
But it always goes back to like that kind of stuff. The bodily functions part of life is terrifying in the first few dates.
I've heard stories of girls going to the bathroom at a guy's house and then the toilet like breaks, so they like take I hate talking about poop. It's like so disgusting to me.
I'm upset that this is what this is.
I know. But I've heard of stories of people taking it out of the toilet and then like not knowing what to do with it and like putting it in their bag and like taking it home to dispose of it elsewhere. And I'm like, I would never.
No.
I don't know what I would do, but I wouldn't do that. I can tell you that. I don't know.
I love the girl who was on TikTok that every time she went on a date at a different guy's house, she would go through their bathrooms and judge them based on the products that they have. I think that's a great... I learned that too late in the game.
Yeah,
but
now you're done.
Now I'm done.
Yeah.
I have the first few dates with Steve. Steve, you're listening to this, which he probably will. Hopefully, fingers crossed, supportive. But I looked around his bathroom. And I was like, what is there? Like, what is there to see? And he has like brothers. Yeah. So there was a lot of man products.
I never go through people's stuff. But now I'm like, damn, I should have.
Oh, no, I never touch. Touch.
Do you open like the cabinets? I'm sure people do that all the time.
I have before because I think I needed floss or something on like a date, and I did open a cabinet because I was like, I need this. I would do that too. Bothering me.
I have floss in my wallet. I have a floss card from my dentist. It's a business card, but it's plastic and it has floss in it. And I never want it to run out because it's only for emergencies. So I only use it in emergencies. But yeah, floss card.
That's what's up.
I dated this guy for a few months recently, and he had 2 roommates, and I literally never even looked in their bedrooms. Like, all the bedrooms would just be open, and you had to walk past the other 2 to get to his. And, like, I never even just, like, put my head in.
Oh, my God.
And now I'm like, I'm so curious what the other bedrooms looked like. And, like, I never opened his drawers, like, his nothing. And I was like, damn, I should have gone through his stuff.
I won't go through drawers, but I'm a nosy person.
I will look
through everyone's shelves. Like, I will go right up to someone's shelf and be like, what do you have in here? And why is it there? What's the story?
I do that for things that are sitting out, but I don't really snoop. But
no,
I'm like, I want to
snooper.
know looking back. So like, I wish I did.
No, I try not to be a snooper. As much as like all of my urges inside are like, open it, see what's under there. But I won't.
I'm like, you trust him. Don't be fucking weird.
Yeah.
And then I'm
like,
okay. I fight the urges.
Okay. Wow. We really went on some tangents.
I know. I love it. This may not be considered a horror story, but I am telling it anyway because it was horrifying to me.
Everyone has their own perspective.
That is so true.
Go, girl.
I met a guy online and we chatted for almost a month before we actually went on our first date. We hit it off immediately and had a lot in common. We laughed a lot and the whole date went really well until the end of the night. You know that end of the night when it's a bit awkward for some and you're waiting for the end of the night kiss or sort of goodbye. I was sitting in the passenger seat in the front of my car, of her car, and we both kind of awkwardly leaned in and we went the same way, so it was going to be a miss. Hard to explain. No, I feel like that makes sense.
No, that's like in the movies. That's like a movie thing.
Yeah, like it's like you both
I never thought that happened in real life.
Yeah, and then you like bang foreheads instead of like,
And then you're like,
yeah. Anyway, we both paused and tried to adjust our positions, and he panicked and went, then grabbed me around the neck like I was his little brother and says, "Come here, you," and proceeds to noogie me. He gave me a noogie. Not for long. It hurt slightly, and my hair ended up a freaking mess. He let go. I stared blankly at the front of the car. He laughed awkwardly. I laughed awkwardly and got out of the car. Neither of us ever spoke to each other again. It's been years, and my friends and I laugh about it now. He was harmless. He just panicked.
The noogie guy. That's how he'll always be referred to in a group of ladies. Wait.
come here, you. That's bad.
Also, the like grabbed me like his little brother. Like, I'm just, well, okay, I thought that at first. But then I also was like, the like arm around the neck. Like, that's how I think of a noogie.
Isn't a noogie like this? Or what is a noogie?
So I think of a noogie as like you put your arm around someone's neck and then you do that.
Yes.
I don't think you're choking them out.
Okay, for a second, I was picturing
but that was my immediately first thought.
I think I was picturing like Eskimo kiss. No, a noogie is when, okay. Yes. Okay. I was picturing Eskimo
would
kiss.
Be cute.
Really?
Isn't that just your noses together?
Yeah, but that's weird.
I guess if you don't know each other.
Yeah.
And you haven't made a joke about it. That's true. Okay. I'm sad because like that is sad when the date goes well and then like there's just one thing at the end that like ruins it. I'm glad that they just never spoke of it.
Yeah.
It's so much better when both people leave the date knowing that it wasn't a good date.
Yeah.
Like in my mind, that's always a relief. Like where you're just like, okay, we know this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
I've never had that, I don't think. Like I said. No, really. I've definitely hung out with people and then I say like, oh, you know, like I don't know if I feel like a romantic vibe.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever had someone where we're both just like, nah. I don't know.
You're cool, but no.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. If someone started to give me a noogie.
See, okay, I think my vibe, I can really vibe with someone when I have a similar personality and I feel like I can make a joke out of almost anything.
Yeah.
And like an embarrassing moment, I love to just like lighten the mood and be like, it's just on each other's team.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like if that happened to me, I'd be like, oh, noogie? Okay, like let's do it, you know? And then if I wanted to kiss them, like I feel like if she really liked him up until that point and she knew that it was just like an awkward thing.
Yeah.
I would have been like, if it was like a hot guy and I was like really into them and then they gave me a noogie and I knew that was just like him being awkward, you could do a power move and then be like, oh, noogie, and then just like go as if you're gonna grab them and do it to them, but then kiss them.
Ooh.
I should really be like a dating coach out here. Yeah.
You are smooth.
I should start going on dates. I know. I'm like, here's what I would do. I will never go on a date with a. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm staying single forever.
I'm like, if it ever happens, maybe I would do this.
Well, listen, the best part about hearing other people's stories is that I feel like it makes you more comfortable being able to like figure out what to do in awkward situations.
Yeah. Totally. I know I was debating what I would do in all of these. So I'm like, that can be our game. We can say what we would do for each of these.
Okay. What would you do? I don't know what I would do. I think that I would just be like, and like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so hard especially when you like don't know the person. You really have to like play off them.
I know.
But I think that after the date, I think I would have like texted him and been like, LOL, never noogie anyone ever again on a date.
Yeah.
Word to the wise. Word from the wise?
I don't know. I don't know what the phrase
We're
is.
looking that up afterwards. And we'll make an edit.
Yeah, the noogie's bad.
I don't think that was our worst one.
No.
I think by far worst one was the peeing.
Oh, yes. That was shocking.
I think that's shocking. We also had no other context from that one. If it was a great date up until that situation.
See, a noogie, if it was a great date up until a noogie, I'd be like, you know what? People make mistakes.
Yes. It's also that is just the most awkward part of the date. That end anticipation.
But the peeing, I wouldn't let that slide.
No.
I'd be done.
We can find a bathroom. We can find a private spot.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I went on a date with a girl who goes to Columbia. I mentioned that my family wants me to go to Columbia Law, but that I have no intention of going. I said, I'm not going to because she interrupted by laughing and saying, you wouldn't get in. You have to be really smart. At the end of the date, she said we should hang out again. I never texted her back. That's bad.
The insulting of intelligence for me is always so rough.
Oh my God, me too. I feel like that pisses me off, especially because I have like a weird sense of humor and I will say dumb things sometimes purposefully as a joke. Like, I don't know why this came to my mind today, but I remember in high school, I literally remember this like it was yesterday because nobody believed me. But you know how on like outside of every classroom, there's a sign with a number and then it says it in Braille as well?
Yes.
Okay. At least in my high school. It had the number. Yeah, then it had Braille. Those. And it was like 32, and then underneath it had Braille. We were all waiting after lunch to go into the science classroom, and this guy goes over and he's like, he touched it and he goes 32. And as a joke, I go, oh my God, you can read Braille? Because it was so obvious. He was making a joke as if he could read it. And I was like, oh my God, you could read Braille? I am playing along to his joke.
Absolutely.
Everyone busted out laughing and they were like, you're such an idiot, like blah blah blah, and they were like, it says it right above, and I was like, I know, like, I get it. And they were all like, no, there's no way you knew. Nobody believed me. They all just were like convinced that I was that stupid. And I was like, no, I just have an elite sense of humor and none of you understand.
Literally, it's called sarcasm. People,
I know.
Look it up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. I know. If someone insulted my intelligence, I would never speak to them again.
No.
Yeah.
No. And I think that there's always, I feel like when it's a bad date, when they're so willing to like put their own opinions above like whatever you feel is important.
Yeah.
Like I think putting down anything that you feel is important is so rough. And like you don't even know that person. Like you don't know what intelligence looks so different in so many different places.
That's so true.
I think that, like, I mean, I think a lot of people believe that, but as a teacher, I'm so like, you can do whatever you put your heart to. And like,
I love that.
I think that a lot of kids, a lot of times feel dumb because they don't feel like they're good in the things that we like test.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a lot of other ways that you can like show that you're really smart.
Yeah.
And in different ways. So like the fact that this person felt compelled to give their 2 cents on like whether someone's going to get in or not.
That's crazy.
We're also in the middle of PSA testing right now. State testing sucks. So I'm also very like, ew, fuck testing.
I know.
And I watch my kids like do this and I'm like, multiple choice questions don't determine how smart you are. I promise.
So true. Oh, I love that you're so supportive of them.
They're kings and queens. Love them so much. They're the best. They're the best.
I hate when people are like that too and just like get off on making other people feel dumb. Because, like, it's also hard to know, like you were saying, if someone actually is intelligent after talking to them for, like, an hour.
No.
Sometimes. But I feel like something I notice about certain people that I admire is when you can be so smart and then teach people things, but not make them feel dumb.
Yes.
Like, I love being surrounded by people that are smarter than me. Mm-hmm. I feel like most of my friends are, like, way beyond like my intelligence level. I want to date and marry someone that is like way better than me and like way smarter than me. But I just always notice when people are like know-it-alls and they're smart, or when people are smart and they're like, they can teach you and share their knowledge without ever making you feel dumb or like you don't know something.
Or like judged. Yeah. That's such like a big part about it.
I know.
So this happened this past week. A few of my students came into my room and they said that they were going on a triple date with some boys after school and they're in middle school. So I asked like all the safety questions first, like who are they? How old are they? Because I mean, when you're in, I feel like middle and high school, like it's a weird age thing. Like you do end up talking to people that are older than you. I think that so often happens with girls.
And sadly.
It is like, and it was that like these boys I think were a grade or 2 grades older than them, but they live in the neighborhood. So they like known them. So also I'm not their parent. All I can do is make sure that they're really safe whatever they do. So I was like, you need to share your location with your friends, whatever. But they're like, where should we go on a date? So we talked about like locations nearby, whatever. They're like, we should go and like go to like an ice cream truck and like they can buy our ice cream like since they're the boys. And it was just so wholesome, like them talking about their first dates, and they were just so adorable talking about it. They're like, what should our outfits be? And Crocs are back. For anyone who didn't know that.
Did they ever go out though? I'm just kidding.
I do still have a pair of Crocs.
I've never had them. Don't tell Erin. My sister is like the #1 hater of Crocs. It's so funny.
I do not appreciate them, but I think that they're hilarious. Yeah. The kids, I love the like putting your sports in Crocs mode thing. The kids still do it.
Putting your Crocs in sports mode.
Yes.
You said putting your sports in Crocs mode.
We should all put our sports in Crocs mode. Let's start playing sports in Crocs. Let's start a new thing.
Something that, you know how sometimes when you're saying something, you just like, exactly what just happened. Like someone, or you notice someone says something backwards like that, and you know what they meant. I feel like I've stopped. Like typically I'll just like not even say anything.
Let it go.
The only reason I said it is because we're recording. And I notice when I do that and nobody says it, I'm like, oh, I have to like cut this clip out or like whatever. I don't know, whatever. But I always notice that. But I fear how often I do that because I think I do that all the time. And I was getting dinner with a guy recently, and it was someone that was like friends of friends. So it wasn't like I never met this person before. Yeah. But so this was like less embarrassing. Yeah. But when we were like sitting down at the table, he was like, I forget what I said, but I said something like, let's say I just said like, oh, thank you so much to the waiter. He was like, wait, what did you just say? And I was like, what? And he was like, what did you just say? And I was like, I think I said thank you so much. Like, did I not say that? And he was like, oh, okay. I thought it sounded like you said something in like a weird accent. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm pretty sure I said thank you so much in an American accent.
And then you're literally rethinking every single thing you've ever done.
I was actually like, but like he wasn't trying to call me out being weird. He was just like genuinely, oh, what did you just say? I like
literally
missed
concerned.
It. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I was like, I'm so glad I knew him and I knew that he was not judging me, because I'm like, that would have made me feel so awkward.
No.
If that was like a random stranger.
100%.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this guy probably thinks I'm like actually
speaking in
insane
tongues.
And stupid. He's gonna start telling me that I will never get into Colombia.
For having an accent? Saying thank you so much. I wish that you should go into a date doing a full accent. Can you do any accents?
I don't think so. I feel like Britain is the closest British, Britain, the UK. British people.
Let's be safe. Say them all.
I know. I'm like, I don't actually know.
English.
That's what it is. Yes, English accent. But I don't think I'm good I am horrendous at accents.
No, me too.
Yeah. Like, I cannot do them.
I'm so bad.
I wish I could. Because Australian accent is so cool. South African accent?
Yeah.
Sick.
Do you think that an accent makes the person that you're dating hotter?
No.
Neither do I.
Okay. So many people do.
Yeah.
I had a British lover once. The tea.
The drama.
Pun intended.
That was a good one.
Have you ever gone on a cruise?
Yes.
Okay, have you had a vacation ship on a cruise?
No. No, I have not. I am an only child.
Oh,
so, like,
you are.
The one cruise that I went on was with friends, but I just couldn't do it. But since I'm an only child, the only wing people you have are your parents, and that ain't happening.
Okay. I want to do a whole episode on vacation ships because what happens, especially on cruises, and I feel like the second level, like right under cruises, would be all-inclusive resorts.
Yes.
When you go from Saturday to Saturday.
Fair.
So like when you go on vacations like that, typically you don't leave the resort or like you don't leave the cruise ship, obviously, unless it's like for one day, like immersion or whatever.
Yeah.
You're doing the same activities as basically everyone else. There's only so many places you can go, so you see the same people every single day.
It's a bunch of group dates.
Yes. Everyone falls in love. Everyone gets like a cruise boyfriend. Mm-hmm. It's so funny. And I went on a cruise when I was a freshman in college, and my sister obviously was there. So we would go out every night, and there's like, cruises are crazy. They're like full clubs, like ragers at night. So many people are just like drinking, and then there's people from all over the world.
Yeah. I always see the Disney cruise. That one seems like the craziest.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like probably
with
like Disney adult cruises.
Oh, adults. Disney adults?
Disney adults?
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know if I'd find my British lover on a Disney adult cruise. Although
I think they would just go crazy. Like, maybe. I don't think you and I would find our people on a Disney adult cruise. But I think that Disney adults probably go a little crazy.
They probably do.
But
I do think every cruise goes a little crazy. But anyway, I met a British guy, and we fell in love. And I was like, is this my soulmate? And then, I think that cruise was long. I think it was like 9 days. Because I remember or maybe it was 8 days. There was just so many days that I hung out with him. Like, typically a vacation isn't like 9 days. Like, you go for like 6 or 7 or like 5 or 6.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it was so long. But
and you have full access to that person.
Yes, totally. And It was so fun. We just like stayed out all night. Me and my sister, him and his friends and whatever.
That's so
and
fun.
yeah, he was so cute. And I'm not going to say his name, but it was such a British name. Like no one in America has this name. Like it was just a British name. I'll tell you after.
Yeah, tell me after.
I can't air him out. But
Cute.
he was so cute. But he
We
had the
love
whole
a
accent and
cruise
everything.
vacation.
But it wasn't that did it. Like, I just feel like even if he was normal, that's horrible.
People from outside of, breaking news.
Yeah,
Kelee
British
thinks
people are
that
not
people
normal.
outside of the U.S. are not normal.
Okay, instead of normal, I should have said boring.
Breaking news.
if he was
Kelee
boring-
believes that everyone in the U.S. who
Is
who does have an accent is
If your
boring.
voice sounds like mine, you're boring. You're basic. No, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, even if he wasn't like, if his accent wasn't special, I still think I would have liked him. Like, I don't think it was the accent that did it.
No, I understand that. That's like, I don't think I've ever dated anyone.
I've
with an
never
accent.
actually dated someone with an accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
had
I
a
will. Maybe I'll
vacation
go on a I want to do a whole vacation ship episode.
You should.
I
That's
saw
a good
this
one.
TikTok that made me laugh so much. This girl was like getting ready and she's like, cruises are crazy, you guys. Like, it's day 6. I think it was day 6. She goes, I met a guy on night 2. On night 3, we decided to be cruise exclusive. Night 4, we hung out. It was good. Night 5, we had a fight. We broke up. And now it's night 6, and I'm getting ready to go out and meet other people or something. And I was like, that's literally
amazing.
cruise culture for young people. Like, that has happened.
Wow.
I went on 2 cruises with my family, and everyone who I hung out with on the cruises, like, that happened to everyone with not
my
the
God.
breakups, but like the falling in love. And like,
Wow.
I was dying over cruise exclusive. I was like,
That
is
is
so funny.
That is amazing.
I know.
I love that.
Shall we continue?
Okay, let's do another one. I'm loving these.
I know. Now
They're
I'm like, I have
fun.
to pick the good ones. I have so many.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's not good that a lot of people have cringy dating stories, but it creates a community.
True.
And we haven't even used the gavel.
Oh my God, I know. We should start banging it.
When we here's something truly horrific. Oh, okay. Here's when we can bang it.
Oh,
when we feel like there's a point in the date when we would get the ick.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
I brought a girl back to my house for dinner and a movie. I had previously made a bet with her wherein if she won, I'd make dinner and bake pie. But if I won, she had to make out with me. Either way, win-win, right? I would too. A bet that I have to make out with you?
No, thank you. Also, I don't like pie. So either part of that I don't love.
Why would you be dating someone where you have to make I know it's a lighthearted joke, but like
Yes.
seriously, I'm never gonna make a bet that I have to make out with a guy, and if I lose the bet, like making out with him is what I get if I lose.
Yeah. I feel like that's
I'm
one
like,
of those things
no.
that you like do half-heartedly.
Yeah.
At like the beginning where you're like, oh, we'll like bet a kiss or like something like
I
that,
would-
like towards the end.
I would get
Something
that, yeah.
I've like heard of that before. / I'm sure I've done it like for
That would give me
some
the ick.
reason.
Yeah.
But
if
ugh, a
someone was
makeout.
like, if a guy was like, I'm gonna do this, and like, if I win, I'll pay for dinner, but if you win, I
You
could
have to
vomit.
make out.
You have to kiss me. I would actually leave. I would leave.
Yeah, that would be hard.
If a guy was like, you have to make out with
can
me, or you have to kiss me, I would.
Kelee is shivering.
I
For
would,
everyone, for all
I
the
would start
listeners,
convulsing in the restaurant.
Kelee is shivering.
I
Terrified.
can't. Any like corny shit like that just makes my blood
Yeah.
go cold. Is that the phrase?
The
blood go cold, blood curdle.
the betting of physical things to me towards the beginning of a relationship just seems a little like almost manipulative in a sense of like
Yeah.
you, like just allows people to get there on their own,
Yeah.
like in a way, you know.
Yeah.
But
And I feel like I am also flirty and I like kissing people. So I'm like, I don't need to make a bet
No,
to
to
kiss
kiss
you. Like,
you.
if I'm feeling it,
No.
we will kiss naturally. And like, if we are the same vibe.
if not, I'll give you a noogie.
Yeah, exactly. I'll give you an Eskimo kiss. No, disgusting. I just think that is so not my vibe to like
Fair.
make a cutesy bet like that or
Yeah.
say like that corny shit.
No.
That if someone said that, I'd be like, we are just not it. We're not compatible.
Yeah.
And I would cringe very hard.
LOL.
So-
We haven't even gotten to the part of
I
the
know. I'm
story.
so sorry. I love when we go on tangents on the podcast and then I'm like, and what story was this? Because I have no clue. I literally don't even know. Oh yeah, so they made a bet.
Okay.
And
pie or make out.
Yes, dinner and pie or make out. Okay. So we finish dinner and go back into my bedroom to watch a movie. Midway through the flick. She says, I'm still a bit hungry. I think I'll go grab a quick bite of the leftovers. She gets up, goes into the kitchen. I decide about 45 seconds later, as my stomach rumbles, that this sounds like a great idea. I arrive in the kitchen to see her standing over my silverware drawer, emptying it into her purse. I was shocked. I'd never had a date try to rob me before. I asked, what the hell are you doing? Her reply, ha ha ha, oopsie. I'd have been pissed already, but the girly giggling BS answer just put me over the edge. I walked up, looked in her bag, and saw that she'd only managed to grab some of the crappier silverware so far. At that point, I reached over the counter and grabbed a slice of the pie. I looked her in the eyes and said, don't forget dessert. Then, while holding her gaze, I dropped the pie into her purse and smashed it up as best I could with the sides of the purse to make sure it got in there nice and good, kicked her out, never saw her again.
A thief!
If that is real.
A theft!
I seriously don't trust people. Like, I've heard people say before, like, I've just heard people say when it comes to dating, if you're like talking to a guy or like hooking up with someone, whoever is going to the other person's house consistently, the person whose house it is has the power in the relationship. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't want guys to come to my house. Like, I don't trust people to come to my house. I don't think where you hang out is a determining factor in who has the power.
No.
But I especially don't think that's true in the beginning of the relationship because I'm like, I don't trust people. Like, I would think they're going to do some shit like this.
No.
And I'm like, don't come to my house.
I think it's so hard because, like, I was never an on the first date, like, go to a person after my first horrible experience.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I realized, I was like, you cannot go to people's houses. Like, you don't know what's going to happen. But I also take a lot of pride in my house. Like, I wouldn't invite someone over unless I, like, trusted them.
Yeah. Or, like, actually liked them.
I've never even thought about someone stealing from me.
I have. I would just be scared that, I don't know. I've never invited a guy over my house and been like, oh, you're going to steal from me. But that's because I've never invited a guy over my house until I trusted them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you do? You walk out and a man is stealing your cell phone.
I would be like, what the fuck? And then I would wait for him to respond.
Yeah, I would say, give me my shit back.
I would be like, what? I would be so shocked. So shocked.
What is wrong with you?
And then this is where it gets scary because it's like, if you went towards a guy who's in your knife drawer, who's stealing your shit.
Fair.
And you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I don't know what knife they're going to pull out. It's a first date.
Yeah. But I also think I would be like, if you're at that place where you, like, need to steal someone's silverware. Yeah. Take my silverware, honey. I can go buy myself a new set.
I don't feel that way unless I was, like, scared of the person. Like, this is a sad story. My catalytic converter got stolen.
Mine too.
Shut up.
Twins.
Did it get stolen near your house?
Yes. Literally down the street.
I am terrified of parking near your house because of that. It's happened to so many people that I know.
Yeah,
this was in a different neighborhood where mine was, but I was thinking about it. Like, I was talking to friends about it, and people are like, oh, like, what would you do if you walked up to your car at night
and someone was doing it?
Yeah, you saw the people, because actually one of my friends of friends lives on your exact block, actually. Yes. I think they live like a couple houses down from you, yeah. But it happened to him. He was going to work at, like, or maybe it was his older neighbor. I think it was an old woman, so it must have been his neighbor, but maybe, I forget, whatever.
People on someone told me the story. Play, so I'm sure she did not play with him.
That's exactly what he said. And he said that this woman went outside at like 6 a.m. to go to work, and a guy was like coming out from under her car with her catalytic converter, and she's like, okay, bye. Yeah. Like, and I was like, I would do the exact same thing. Like, if I went back to my car and I saw a guy cutting my catalytic converter out, I'd say, have a nice night, and I'd walk away. I wouldn't do shit. No. I'm like, I don't want to be involved in this. Yeah. Take it. But, like, in your own house, it's like, I don't know. If I knew the person, maybe for like a couple dates, and then they did it, I would probably be more likely to confront them. But if it was like a first time thing, I would be like...
I would just be like, get out.
That's just such weird behavior. Like, a normal person doesn't do that. No. So I would be scared of them.
But I also think about it where, like, people are so scared to get caught. Like, that's probably...
True.
I think that I agree with this person where they were like, the part that pissed me off was the girly giggling.
Oh, like, you're right.
That
she was like trying to play it off.
yes, that would make me upset.
True.
I think, like, if someone smiled at me while stealing from me,
I'd
call the police.
No, you're right. I would
be terrified.
Giggling is like, because, the girl was trying to play it off like she was doing nothing wrong.
Like,
which
cutesy.
Is
No, if a man came into my home and started stealing from me and then smiled at me,
True.
I would be like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah,
get
that's
out
a
of
good
my
point.
home immediately. I feel like most people would probably be ashamed and scared. That's what I would assume.
Yeah, you're right. Because she probably thought she was going to get away with it and just leave the house and never talk to him again.
Yeah. Also, just like the silverware drawer.
That is
How
concerning.
do you start there?
I know. Unless she thought it was like metal and she wanted to go sell it. Because you know you can recycle metal.
Oh, yeah, and you can sell it.
I don't know. It's weird.
It's concerning. No matter
So
what.
concerning.
End of the day, concerning.
Yes. Midway through dinner, his wedding ring fell out of his pocket. Bad.
Wait, that's really bad.
That's so bad.
That was one of my worst nightmares. That was one of my biggest fears being on the dating apps, was like being with someone who's married. I actually accidentally matched with a guy, not realizing that his profile said married, and he was in an open relationship with his like wife? And they like invited other partners in. And he literally messaged me and was like, hey, my wife is also a teacher, like you guys would have so much to talk about. And I
my God, that's so
since
funny.
I didn't realize it, I like looked at the message and was like, my wife, like what the hell is he talking about? And then I realized what was going on and I was like, oh my God, like, and I like immediately unmatched. I just like didn't say anything. But that's terrifying. I would be like, what is, like,
See,
what?
I don't think it's weird because that guy wasn't trying to hide anything.
No.
It was, you just kind of missed the detail.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's trying to hide it is so creepy.
Yeah.
Ew, I was out with a friend of mine. We were both single. And we were talking to these guys. And they all seemed really nice, actually. Like, it was just the two of us. But then there was probably, like, 4 or 5 guys. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't, like, all flirting. We were just, like, hanging out with them, talking to them. But then the one guy started flirting with my friend. And they exchanged Instagrams. And she's looking at his Instagram later when we leave. And she's like, this guy has a kid. And then she's like, wait, this guy's married. Like, he has pictures of his wife on his Instagram, his public Instagram.
The audacity.
And then he messages her and he goes, sorry. It was like something weird. Like, he apologized for not taking the ring off. He didn't apologize for flirting with her.
And
he was like, I
potentially
should have taken the ring off. And it was like, no, you shouldn't have been flirting with girls at the bar.
No.
If you're married.
Yeah.
Like, what? And I guess she probably just didn't notice the ring on his finger, like at the bar, because they were talking in person. It's just so bizarre.
I feel like that's something that, like, I usually don't look. Maybe now as I'm getting older, like.
Now I do notice.
I notice a little bit. But also I feel like there's a lot of people who just, like, don't. I feel like that's become a big thing now to, like, wear wedding rings. Like, my dad never wore a wedding ring.
Yeah, my dad never did either.
No. The audacity of anyone who's in a committed relationship to, like, potentially ruin that. I think it's all fine and good to be, like, nice to someone else when you're talking to another group of people. But, like, to also give out your Instagram. No, you're not like James Bond. You can't hide it. You're not a little secret spy.
That's concerning.
And to not even apologize and be like, oh my God, I feel so bad.
Ew, if I was on a date with a guy and his wedding ring fell out of his pocket, I would wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Let's do one more. This will be a good one to end on, I think. Oh, we just touched toes.
Ooh.
It wasn't on camera.
You know where these toes were.
If you want to see... I was going to say, if you want to see me and Callie touching toes, log on to...
That's a private channel. That's our OnlyFans.
Our Patreon. I'm not kidding. I might do that. If people would subscribe, I'd be like...
To a Patreon?
Does my face have to be in the pictures with my feet? I don't know how it works. What do people like? What do people pay for?
So I have... I have had people look into it for me because like asked around. Whenever I tell that story, people are like, have you looked into it? Whatever. Or they'll be like, oh, I've looked into it before. And you do have to have a picture of your face when you like log in or like, or like whatever, create a profile. But I'm like, you can't always like match face to feet. Like you could probably just like pull a stock photo.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if there's any. That's what I've heard on the streets.
I'm interested. I want more information. Okay.
I don't know.
Last one.
We'll look into it, guys.
Yeah.
Comment below
Yeah, if you have any information.
You have any info.
A friend of mine told me this once. She was on a dinner date with this guy at his home. Why are people going? I mean, maybe they knew each other. Never mind. I'm not going to judge.
Okay.
About 10 minutes into the dinner, her stomach was feeling weird and she needed to go to the toilet badly. She was embarrassed and left. Over the phone later on, she told him, and he said that she shouldn't worry and stuff like that happens. A second dinner date was arranged.
Okay.
During the second date, the exact same thing happened. However, this time, she was at the toilet and he knocked on the door and asked if he could come in. She was quite confused and shocked. She said no. And when she came out, there was some sort of argument for which I don't know the details. However, the end result was that he admitted having spiked her food with laxatives. Obviously, he had some odd fetish about this. Needless to say, a third date was not arranged.
We've already talked about stomach issues.
I know. I was like, let's wrap it up.
This would be my worst nightmare. Oh, no.
Yeah. That's bad.
Spiking someone's food?
What if they were allergic? Like, because isn't a laxative kind of like a medicine?
Yeah.
Like, what if you're allergic to medicine? Don't put anything in anyone's food.
No,
ever.
why are people doing this?
Bad.
Also, okay, it comes all back to the beginning with the foot. Okay, fetishes, I am so like, if that's your thing,
yes,
go for it.
Yes.
Go for it to be your thing. You have to ask consent.
Yes. Agreed.
Yes, like if that is your thing and you know that you want to go on something and like do that. Like if you're going on, I feel like usually if people want to like hook up or indulge in like fetish things, potentially, it might be like on Tinder. Like go on Tinder and say straight up, like this is something that I'm into. Like, is this something that you would be willing to participate in?
Yeah.
Whatever. Like you cannot just do this to people.
I agree. And I almost feel bad because I was thinking about people that have fetishes, because I think there's a difference between like a fetish and a kink.
Yes.
A kink is something you just like.
Yeah.
But a fetish is something that you need. Like you cannot do.
I've never even thought about that.
I think that's what a fetish is. So I'm like, imagine if you had a fetish. Like that would honestly kind of suck. If you had like a really weird fetish.
Something that
like,
that would be considered like shameful.
Yeah, but I honestly feel like what's one fetish that if you told like an entire group of people, they wouldn't think it's weird?
Yeah.
Like everyone judges people with fetishes so hard. So I was thinking about that. And I'm like, dude, if I had that and I told my friends and everyone laughed at me, like I would be so embarrassed. And I'm like, I honestly feel bad for people like that who are made fun of if they are a consenting adult doing whatever the heck they want with another consenting adult. So like that's why I feel like the feet thing. I'm like, you know, it's not my thing. But if you're doing it between two consenting adults, and even like the bathroom shit, like I can't imagine. But like if this guy consented or asked the woman for consent and she gave it to him, I'd be like, go off.
Yeah.
But the fact that you're doing it without asking and just forcing it on someone else is the problem.
Yeah.
Anytime I feel like fetishes come up in like groups of people, I'm always just like, you know what? Like to each their own.
It is
because I'm like, you never know, like honestly, who's like listening.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like I think a lot of people don't know, like in groups of friends, there are things that you're still going to keep private even from your best friends when it comes to like your relationships and what you're into.
Yeah.
Like that is something that like we don't talk about very often. I think there's some friend groups who might.
Yeah.
But like I think that it always like it's just something that you have to let people kind of go their own way as long as they're making sure that it's like appropriate, or not appropriate, but like consenting for the other person and like that the other person is okay. That would terrify me. I wouldn't think twice because of like me and my stomach already hurting a lot of the time. Like I don't know if I would like, I would think twice when he asked to come into the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like
I wouldn't think about it the first time it happened, but if it happened 2 times in a row, I'd be like, okay, I'm at this guy's house.
That's weird.
And I haven't gotten sick in so long and now I'm sick 2 times in a row. I'd be like, that's scary.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, I don't think I would be like, oh, he probably put laxatives in my food because he has a fetish.
Because who does that?
Yeah, like that's, I'm glad it came out though, because she probably would have been wondering for so long.
No, she would have been terrified.
Yeah. Ugh, scary.
That is a scary one.
I think one of the reasons why I'm way more accepting, like when I was younger, I also thought any fetish was like weird. And I'm like, ew, people are weird, blah, blah, blah. But then I started listening to this podcast called Other People's Lives. Ooh, it's so good.
Yeah.
You guys should listen to it if you're interested. But they basically basically interview a new person every week, and it's just someone with an interesting story. So it ranges from like people that were in New York City on 9/11 to like a clown fetish or something.
Ooh.
And you'd be like, ew, a clown fetish, like that's scary, weird, bad. But the people that are talking, they're just normal people. They're just like us, but they're like, I just get turned on by clowns. So I go on websites that connect me with other people that get turned on by clowns, and we do it together. And I'm like, okay, you know, I can't imagine, but like you're normal. Like you seem like a nice girl and you're an adult. So I'm like, YOLO. Like, do it.
Thank
do it
God for the internet.
I know.
Like, there's something out there for everyone, I really think.
I know. That's what I am glad. And I feel like now it's becoming more, not normal, but like people talk about it more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was always seen as like a dirty secret.
Yeah.
And like I still think a lot of people keep it as a secret now, but only because of the way that other people will act towards them. Not necessarily because they want it to be a secret.
If I was into feet, I would never tell people. I don't think, at least. Well, I don't know though, because if I was actually into something that's like weird, in air quotes, I'm saying weird because I'm not judging people, but if I was into something like that, who knows, maybe you would feel like empowered by it. Like I really don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. It's so interesting to talk about. I love like hearing
that
about
is a good thing to talk about. Sorry guys, I just achieved my move goal. That's why I looked at my my move goal by sitting on this couch for the last 2 hours. Yeah.
Well, we love it for you. Well, on that note, it's been successful.
On that note, let me get moving.
Okay, this was so fun.
This was so fun. I hope I can come back.
Okay, well, I only read like 4 off my list of like 50, so I have so many more to share.
Maybe we'll make it a series. Let Kelee know if you like our series.
Yes, cringy dating stories.
Those are all my cringy dating stories, so I don't have any to come back with, but maybe I can do some research on my own.
Yes.
Find some to bring to the table.
Yes, ask around.
Oh.
And I might start going on dates just to get some content. No, I probably won't. We'll see.
I will make Kelee a dating profile and make her go on some dates.
We'll see. Thank you guys so much for listening to our podcast.
It was so fun.
So fun having you.
Yes, my honey.
Kelee
so
and
excited.
Kelee. It's Kelee, by the way, you guys.
Duo.
Kali.
Yeah.
We have very similar names. Guys, thanks for listening to our podcast.
Bye. Do you have more things to say?
Well, I was just going to say, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.